story begins in a vast frozen forest in northern Finland, where a teenage girl named Hanna lives in isolation with her father, Erik Heller. While Hanna hunts out in the woods, she sees a deer and decides to take it down with her bow and arrow. Taking the shot, the deer moves an inch, causing the arrow to hit it at a different spot than she intended. The deer sprints away, but eventually collapses due to loss of blood. She then approaches it and deletes it from existence with a gunshot. While she begins the gutting process, she suddenly gets attacked by a man and is forced into a quick hand-to-hand fight. Turns out it's Erik, who had snuck up behind her to test her awareness by attacking without warning. Although the little lad tries her best, she gets folded like a lawn chair by Erik, who leaves shortly after, making her drag the deer back to their cabin all by herself. Erik watches her as she struggles with the weight. After they get settled in the cabin, Erik points out her battle flaws, stating the reasons he got to take her down so easily. While he schools her, he makes her respond in multiple languages as some kind of training. He also reads her a book, educating her about the outside world, but Hanna's mind seems to be fixated on something else.
The blue whale's music can be heard for over 500 miles.
She asks him what music feels like, telling him she wants to experience it herself, rather than just listening to his stories. That night, while she does some studying of her own, she holds on to a picture of a woman, who is probably her mom, and she falls asleep staring at it. Early the following morning, her dad makes her train with him again, as he polishes her fighting and shooting skills. He also schools her about several fabricated identities to protect her. Later that night, while she sleeps, he pulls up another sneak attack to test her awareness level, but Hanna goes Super Saiyan and wins the struggle this time. Erik then realizes she might actually be ready to go out there. The following morning, while Hanna fawns about an airplane that passes by, Erik digs up a small metal box buried in the snow with a transmitter inside. He then shows it to her, telling her it's time. Erik explains to her that activating the device will alert the people who have been looking for them, the CIA, and that he's going to leave the decision in her hands. After taking forever, Hanna finally presses the switch, sending the tracking signals. It doesn't take long for the signal to reach CIA headquarters in Morocco, where an intelligence technician notices it and traces it to northern Finland. Through the signal, the CIA tracks the name Erik Heller and realizes that the mission is going to be a problem that triggers alarm bells. Agent Marissa Wiegler, a high-ranking CIA operative, is notified. She immediately orders a team to capture whoever sent the signal and begins investigating.
Postcard.
Back in the forest, Erik tells Hanna it's time. He leaves the cabin before dawn, saying he must go ahead and prepare things for her. After he's gone, Hanna waits alone. Soon, helicopters approach. Armed soldiers arrive at the cabin and surround it. Hanna remains calm, pretending to surrender. They cuff her and fly her to a secret CIA bunker in Morocco. Realizing the mission is going to be troublesome, the CIA sends a good number of their most trained forces. Meanwhile, Erik urges Hanna to never let her guard down as he prepares to leave the cabin. Before he leaves, he quietly reminds her about their plan to meet in Berlin as he heads out and goes deep into the woods. Shortly after he leaves, the special agents arrive at the cabin to ambush them, and Hanna gets into position. When two men from the forces burst into the cabin, she takes them out easily, just for the fun of it. The rest of the forces then swoop in at once to capture her. Later they report to Marissa Wiegler, the CIA boss, that Erik has escaped. Pissed, she orders them to find him in the snowstorm, but when they mention the fact that the little girl had taken down 2 of their highly trained forces easily, she reconsiders and orders that she be brought in immediately. Hanna gets taken to a secure facility where she is being interrogated by a doctor who introduces himself and tries to get information about the possible whereabouts of her father. Diverting his questions, Hanna notices all the cameras set up around the room.
How does that make you feel?
And while the doctor tries to assure him that they're just for keeping records, she demands to speak with the boss, Marissa Wiegler. Later in the base's laboratory, 2 scientists examine DNA samples they got from Hanna's hair and notice a lot of unusual patterns, making them realize she's not an ordinary kid. Meanwhile, Marissa disguises a female agent to fake her identity just in case it's a trap. When the agent gets into the room, Hanna is being kept in and introduces herself as Marissa. Hanna asks her questions that only the real Marissa would know, but thanks to a tiny communication device hidden in her ear, Marissa tells her what to say. The agent assures Hanna that she's in a safe place and can trust her.
We're all worried about him.
Surprisingly, Hanna bursts into tears and hugs her tight like she's about to clap her. But the real Marissa can't help but suspect that something is wrong. Before she can realize what's going on,
I repeat, agent, abort!
Hanna snaps the agent's neck like a breadstick in a diet commercial. A couple of armed agents step in to restrain her, but she takes them all down easily, using their own weapons to send them to Wonderland. Moving through the underground base filled with agents looking for her, Hanna moves with precision and keeps herself out of sight, like she's memorized the floor plan of the entire building. Moving through the vent, she gets to the laboratory and gets her DNA results from the scientists, who are completely powerless against her. Back on her escape route, Hanna crawls up the vent again and climbs her way up to an exit. Before she gets out, she notices several of the CIA agents already searching for her with their cars, so she mysteriously hides under one of the cars and uses it to get a lift. After getting far enough from the base, she drops from the vehicle and continues her journey barefoot across the dunes under the scorching sun. Back in the facility, Marissa recalls her history with Hanna's parents and how she had unalived her mom while trying to forcefully take her from her. Eric had then escaped with Hanna into the woods and was never seen again since that day. Back in the present, Marissa fetches a folder containing important documents connected to that day and burns it up while being haunted by Hanna's mom's dying words to her.
She will never be yours.
Wandering through the desert, Hanna encounters a young girl around her age named Sophie, traveling with her family through Morocco in a camper van. After the girl introduces herself, Hanna does the same, using one of the fake identities her father had made in her memories. While her family leaves to continue their journey, Sophie asks if Hanna would like to come with them, but Hanna tells her she's good and would prefer to walk. Meanwhile, while the special forces try to locate Hanna, Marissa tells them she's not their priority and redirects them to focus on finding Eric instead, since he's the one who poses a threat.
States of America.
Eric, however, slowly makes his way to his destination as he swims through a large ocean. Hanna follows Sophie's family to a camp where she meets a bunch of natives going on with their lives. Borrowing a dress she randomly finds, she changes out of her prison clothes and advances through the camp. Getting to a hotel, she meets the manager, an old Arab man, and uses a different identity to introduce herself to him. Impressed by her Arabic and how eloquently she speaks, the man offers her a room where she can crash for the night. Although the room is old and worn down, Hanna gets overwhelmed by the technological equipment, like the sound of the TV, the fans, the light bulbs, and the electric cooker. And her PTSD kicks in, causing her to storm out of the room. Outside, she runs into Sophie and her brother, who are convinced she had followed them. Meanwhile, Marissa hires a ruthless mercenary named Isaacs to help him track down Hanna. She hands him an envelope, which she claims contains everything he needs. Sophie introduces Hanna to her parents, and they take a kind of liking to her, commending her resolve to travel alone. When they ask about her mother, and Hanna reveals that she had been unalived, they share their concerns. Later that night, Hanna goes through her test results from the lab, and is devastated to have been described as an anomaly of nature. The following morning, Isaacs and his underdogs get to the hotel where Hanna stayed, but she had already left with Sophie's family on their journey. They interrogate the old manager, who tries to gatekeep her identity, but eventually folds under torture. After getting useful intel from him, Isaac sends him to a better place. Eric, meanwhile, arrives at the shores of his targeted city and takes down the 2 police officers who confront him.
I've contacted Interpol.
When it gets reported to Marissa, she realizes that they're in for a bumpy ride. During their journey, one of Isaacs' henchmen sees the camping van and starts to follow it. Not realizing that Hanna had snuck into their van, Sophie's family arrives at the next camp. Coming out of her hiding spot, she rushes over to a swimming pool, but meets Sophie there. Surprised to see her, Sophie figures out that she had followed them again. Knowing that Hanna probably has nowhere to stay, Sophie offers to sneak her into her tent, but on the condition that she comes with her on a date with 2 Spanish boys she met at the poolside. Changing her into some normal clothes, Sophie brings Hanna along on the date, and they each pair up with the guys. They head to a Spanish carnival to watch a theater performance, and Sophie starts kicking it hard with her pair. Hanna, on the other hand, hasn't had any experience with boys in her entire life, so she sits there awkwardly, like you losers when fine shit walks by. When her date tries to make a move, she grabs him by the throat and pins him down, making him plead for his dear life. During their date, Isaacs and his men arrive at the camp in search of Hanna, but leave when they do not see her. Hanna and Sophie then arrive almost immediately after they leave.
A program to make babies stronger.
Marissa pays an unannounced visit to Hanna's grandmother, who's not quite pleased to see her, given what she did to her daughter. She claims to be in search of Eric, but the old woman has no clue of his whereabouts. Instead, she voices out about the infinite pain Marissa caused her by taking her only child away from her. She asks about Hanna, but Marissa pulls out a gun and unalives her.
I live in Leipzig.
That night in Sophie's tent, she asks Hanna to tell her the truth about who she really is, but Hanna tells her she'd be putting her at risk if she did that. Sophie still pries, so Hanna reveals her DNA test results and tells her about the bad people chasing her, revealing that she has to go to Berlin to reunite with her father. Touched, Sophie hands her a bracelet to remember her by, and Hanna shows her gratitude by kissing her on the lips. The following morning, when Sophie wakes up and realizes Hanna's gone, she panics and asks her parents if they've seen her. Her parents, on the other hand, are shocked to learn that Hanna had been with them the whole time. Suddenly, Hanna pulls up with a skinned rabbit she claims she had hunted for them for breakfast, grossing them out. When they take off from the camp to continue their journey, Isaacs and his men spot the van leaving and decide to escort it. Meanwhile, Eric finally reaches Germany, and while he advances through the city he arrives at, he notices some secret agents following him. Leading them to an underground parking lot, Eric genuinely beats the shit out of them. During their journey, while Hanna drowns herself in the heavenly sensation of music, she notices that a particular car has been secretly following them, so she low-key panics.
Like this for you, Mama.
Marissa, however, receives a call from Eric in her apartment. asking for Hanna's whereabouts. She summons one of her agents and tries to track down his location, but someone suddenly knocks on her door. While the agent tries to answer it, he gets shut down through the door, to Marissa's surprise. Marissa then realizes that Eric had only called to stall her. She immediately grabs a gun and tries to defend herself with it, shooting through the door. But when she realizes how cooked she might end up, she escapes through the window swiftly before Eric breaks in. On their journey, Hanna notices the car still following them. Not wanting to put the family she's grown so attached to in danger, she makes them stop the van. After making Sophie promise not to come after her, she runs out, leading Isaacs and his men into a vast shipping yard filled with shipping containers. Leading the men through the maze, she tries to attack them one at a time from the shadows. Unknown to her, despite her warnings, Sophie had come after her. When she notices one of the men tries to approach her, she jumps right in front of her. Sophie then runs back in disbelief. When Hanna gets cornered by Isaacs, she dives into the water and swims her way through. Marissa arrives minutes later, furious at Isaacs for failing again. She interrogates Sophie and her family to find out about Hanna's destination. During the interrogation, Sophie acts all defensive and refuses to reveal any intel. Her younger brother, however, gives up the destination under little pressure. Eventually, Hanna reaches Berlin and finds the abandoned amusement park Eric mentioned. Inside, she meets Eric's old acquaintance, who makes her feel at home.
What has Eric told you about me?
While they discuss, they suddenly hear a knock on the door, and although Lewis assumes it's Eric, he makes Hanna hide upstairs, just in case. Answering the door, he is met by Melissa and Isaacs, who don't seem very chatty. Shortly after Hanna realizes that Melissa had come for her, she hides under a bed from where she overhears Melissa's discussion with Isaacs. She is shocked to learn that not only is she not Eric's biological daughter, but she's also a product of a top-secret CIA program to engineer enhanced humans. The children had been designed to have heightened strength, speed, and intelligence, but the project got shut down, and all the subjects were ordered to be unalived. So Eric, one of the agents involved, escaped with the infant Hanna and raised her in hiding as his own. Slipping out of the amusement park, Hanna locates her grandmother's house, where she meets Eric. She confronts him about her real origin, and although he tries to convince her that she's his daughter, she gets mad and beats the shit out of the grown man before storming out. Eric follows her, explaining that he was only trying to make her strong enough to be able to defend herself during times like this. But Isaacs arrives with Marissa and a henchman. Ordering her to run, Rick tries to buy her time by running in the opposite direction and making them come after him. Catching up to him, the men attack Eric, but he manages to take them both down. Melissa then arrives shortly and unalives him with a Glock. Hanna, who can't stand the guilt of leaving her old man behind, heads back, but by the time she gets there, Eric is already in a different dimension. She runs back to the amusement park and discovers that Lewis had also been unalived. Marissa then arrives to capture her, so she storms out, grabbing an arrow on her way as she makes Melissa chase her through the abandoned park. After a while, Marissa corners her and shoots at her, but Hanna immediately lunges the arrow at her, penetrating her in a vital spot. Hanna also gets grazed by the bullet, but it's not more than she can handle. Marissa, now badly wounded, limps away while Hanna follows. When she catches up to her, Marissa tries to end her with her gun, but slips and ends up falling down some sets of stairs. Hanna then picks up her gun and drops her, just like how she dropped the deer at the beginning of the story. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video.